Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I hope everyone's had a fantastic day. Hello. I can always tell how well the event is going by how chatty the room is. So this has been a good event, which I'm very glad to hear. Wanted to make sure everyone had a fantastic day. I know everyone's heard it a couple times, but feedback is really important. So please, as you go along through the event, share some feedback with us, write it down in the forums. We want to make sure we innovate and make these events better and better for you all. So all that feedback is taken very seriously, and it helps us innovate and make these events the best that they could be. At this point, I'm happy to introduce, we're still on track for completing our Millennium mission, which is executing missions throughout the day. So tomorrow, whoever the lucky raffle winner is will have the opportunity to donate $1,000 to the charity of your choice. As you all finish eating, I'm delighted to introduce tonight's keynote speaker here at the Four Seasons. He's the former Chief Marketing Officer at Albertsons, Sean Burnett. Please welcome Sean.
All right, everybody hear me? It's good to be with everybody. Hi, I'm Sean. Thanks for the intro, Saul. Saul said I should start with a joke, and he actually gave me one. What do you call a person with no body and no nose? Nobody knows. Okay, so sorry, it's Saul's fault if you didn't like the joke. Well, hey guys, it's great to be with you. Thanks for, listening to me for the next few minutes and also giving me softball questions. I think there will be time at the end. As Saul mentioned, I am the former Chief Marketing Officer at Albertsons as of Friday. So Friday was my last day, and I'm on the market. And what I'm going to talk about today is up on the screen, winning the future of marketing. And I'm not saying I've solved this. I don't have the answers, but I think leaving a CMO job, it allows me to have a pretty good perspective on things. And I'm just going to share my perspective with you. I think one of the beauties of these types of events is it gets us away from our day-to-day, and it gets us to meet new people, learn about new things, and get up on the balcony and look at what we're doing and take a step back and say, how might I do something different with my job? So what I just hope in the next 20, 30 minutes is to share my perspective. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but maybe it helps you think or makes you think a little bit differently about a challenge that you have. Just a little bit of background on me. I started my marketing career after business school at Procter & Gamble in brand management, spent 7 years in Cincinnati, and I've been with Albertsons for 10 years, 3 years in the private label business, and 7 years leading the marketing function. So let's kick off. So another thing as I was thinking about this presentation is I thought, I don't want to talk about AI. So sick of hearing about it, right? Like we hear about it every other sentence, but there's a lot in here because it's totally changing our business and what we do and our function. We're worried about it. Many of you are probably like, I don't know where to start. Our teams are worried about it. Our leadership are expecting us to do great things with AI. We're reading every day in the news about some crazy thing that somebody else is doing. Why am I not doing that? So I really couldn't help but talk about AI. So what I'm going to talk about is what I say is winning the future of marketing. We have to acknowledge and accept that AI is drastically changing what we do. And let's take a step back and say, okay, what do we need to do strategically with our organizations, with our talent, with what we have as assets of our company so that we can win in this future of AI? Okay? Okay. With Gen AI, everyone is a marketer. The old adage we always say, everyone's a marketer. Now it's true. Should get my glasses on so I can read my notes. But better than that, I will, if it advances, I'm going to show you something. Many of you may have seen this. If you haven't, Pay attention to what you're looking at, and I'll tell you why it's amazing afterwards, and it will blow your mind. Oh, audio. Oh, there we go. Whew. Nope. Can I go back? Try again.
Indiana gonna win, baby!
We're in Florida asking people what they put their money on! I'm all in on OKC!
Indiana got that dog in them.
Will egg prices go up this month?
I think we'll hit $20. How many hurricanes do you think we'll have this year? Kalshi lets you legally trade on anything, anywhere in the U.S. OKC!
I assume some of you have seen this, maybe not everyone. This commercial aired on television during the NBA Finals to millions and millions of people, and it was produced entirely by AI. There was no original video shoot. There was no original photography. This was done by one guy in 2 days for $2,000. Okay? I encourage all of you to just Google it. The guy who did this is a director. He's been a director of making commercials and other things for 15 years, so he's a professional in the space. But it was him, 2 days, $2,000. But he wrote an entire blog, and he did a number of other YouTube videos about exactly how he did it. It's fascinating. You should watch it. But, and hopefully you're as amazed as I am when you say, what? That was done? The things that we normally have extensive video productions, teams of editors, weeks and months of prepping, and then on the back end, and huge budgets to deliver, was delivered really high quality in 2 days for $2,000. Okay, that's creative, copy, everything else. And the other side of what we do is we deliver marketing to our customers. And you've seen probably in presentations today and tomorrow, a million different tools and technologies that can build audience with natural language prompts, optimize campaigns. The point is, everyone's a marketer, and Gen AI is leveling the playing field. What we used to have as moats around what we do as marketers, big budgets, creative teams, et cetera, can now be done by anyone. That means your competitors, scrappy startup competitors of yours that you don't even consider competitors today, can show up to your customers, take your customers by doing great marketing with this type of work. Scary. But you know what? It's also creating a big sea of sameness, isn't it? So I just thought, hey, I'll go on Amazon and I'll look for a charging port. This is 4 different charging ports. You click into the product detail page of 4 different ones. They look pretty similar. They're all talking about the same features and benefits. When Gen AI is used in unsophisticated ways on stock photography, stock images, with data that's available to everyone, you get the sea of sameness. You get stuff like this. So there is a way to rise above this. There is a way to win the future of marketing, and I believe we can all do it. Great marketers and great organizations can win, can differentiate and win. But right now, we probably feel like this, a deer in the headlights over here. At least I did. Probably still do. There's lights in my face right now. But how do we take a step back and say, okay, it's not about this tool or that tool, but how do we take a step back and say, how are we structured? What do we have that's ownable and differentiated? And how do we think strategically so we can lead the pack? Google Gemini gave me these images, by the way. So there's 5 things I'm going to talk about. Again, Sean's opinion. Would love questions and debate if we've got people that want to raise a hand at the end. But the first thing is your data. Gen AI is built off of data. It's only as strong as the data that underpins it. What do you have that your competitor doesn't have? Your data, your first-party data. Not only do you have your first-party data that no one else has, but if you organize your data in a common data lake, appended with third-party data, and constantly enriched with all the data signals that you can get, Gen AI will work better. And if you can do that better than your competition. We all know that we're not doing it well enough today. So unlock that. You will be differentiated versus others in this room and the competitors that don't have first-party data and aren't doing as good a job with it as they should. Second, your brand. So what happens when you go to Amazon and you buy one of those charging ports and it doesn't work very well? It doesn't charge your phone. You're like, man, that sucked. Next time I go on Amazon, I'm going to find a brand I recognize that I trust, and I'm going to buy that brand. Your brand matters more in this future where everybody can generate marketing creative and marketing campaigns than it ever did before. Codify everything about your brand. Protect it. Your logos, your fonts, your colors, the soft stuff, your photography style, your video style, your tone of voice, and make sure that it is used everywhere that your marketing shows up. You want every bit of your marketing to tie to your brand so it is above and differentiated from that sea of sameness. Third of 5 things, humanity. I believe that human experts and human insights will differentiate you as a marketing organization in the future. Nothing can replace sitting in a customer's home and understanding how they use your product. Nothing can replace walking down the aisle of a store, talking to a customer about the decision making that's going through their head as they decide to pick what product they're picking. Gen AI cannot do that. Deep, rich human insights gathered by expert market researchers cannot be replaced. Part 1 of humanity. Second is human expert marketers turn those rich human insights, connect those with our products and services, and build great marketing strategies. That is the role of great marketers, and I don't believe Gen AI or unsophisticated marketers that are enabled by Gen AI can do that. Storytelling and narratives cannot be replaced by Gen AI. The video I showed before, the blog, actually, I had it in my notes, but it's cut off the bottom. But I'll paraphrase it. The blog that the guy wrote, he said, hey, he's talking to other directors. He said, what's our moat? What do we have that Gen AI can't replicate? And he said it's about creativity, humor, and storytelling. And he said, I'm hiring. He's hiring creatives, artists, storytellers. Because the only thing that was done by a human in that video I showed you is he wrote the script and the shot list. Everything else was, but he wrote the humor, he wrote the story, and then he had AI create the video for him. So humanity is our superpower. Let's make sure we put it to work. Fourth, connected journeys. The customer journey we all know is many touch points. We market across the whole customer journey. But we all know they're disconnected internally, right? We use humans to connect we do our media plan with this team over here. We do CRM with this team over here. Our web and app team does this over here. And we use the humans to, one, connect those journeys, make sure they look and feel together and the same, and also to optimize the performance across those. Gen AI can't work its magic when it's not connected on a singular spine of technology. So we have to connect this journey, connect all of those touch points, both from their data sources, which was the first point, and also the activation. That's true magic that Gen AI can do better than any humans. If all of that's connected, the optimization, which will juice your ROI of all of your investments, can be done by Gen AI way better than it can be done by any human, but it requires that journey to be connected on a singular tech stack and spine. Finally, a future-forward marketing organization. I feel like, for me, this is the hardest thing. I've got a great team. You guys all probably have great teams. Your teams are scared about Gen AI. Some are adopting, some are resistant, some are saying, hey, this is a threat to my job. It is hard to make big organizational changes. I feel like the magnitude of the changes we need to make in our teams, talent, and how we're organized is massive. I don't think it's ever been bigger, and I think it is the barrier to unlocking all 4 of these previous ones. So this is the prerequisite to winning in the future of marketing with Gen AI. It's the hardest one for us all to do. There are roles on your teams that you don't need anymore. There are people you need in your organization that you don't have. And the way you're organized is also a barrier to operating with speed and agility and enabled by Gen AI. Just like the customer journey that's not fully connected from a tech standpoint, your own team formation, you've probably got a media team, a CRM team, a web and app team. That's not the right structure for having Gen AI optimizing to drive performance for you. So that's it. In a nutshell, hey, everybody's a marketer. If we don't, I guess I'm a former chief marketing officer, so if you don't embrace this and change drastically, other competitors of yours will, and you will fall behind. These are my 5 tips on the areas that you should be focusing on, and hopefully that's helpful. Any softball questions? Yeah?
The last point you made really resonates with me. I'm about to embark on a process of restructuring my entire department.
Yep.
So I'm just curious to know from you, like, what, as we kind of move into the space of sort of AI being a part of how we work, what do you think is the biggest single change that a more traditionally structured marketing team can make in terms of reorienting to address?
Yeah, well, I think with any organizational changes, setting the right tone is the first thing that you need to do, in my point of view. I think that you need to, if you felt that I was driving urgency on this, you need to do the same thing with your teams. You need to be transparent and say, look, this is changing what we do, and we have to drastically change ourselves. You have to first set that tone and make sure everybody understands that. And some people will, and some people won't. And as you think about talent decisions in the future, you know, if there's going to be resistance to the change, that's where you're going to need to start. The second is, I think that the notion of continuous adaptation and change needs to be embedded in the DNA of the future organization. So it's no longer set an org structure that's rigid, set of processes that are rigid and they're not going to change. Because I think Gen AI is going to continue changing how we work and what we do. So it's a whole different mental model where people have to say, hey, I do marketing. Technology has always been changing what we do, but at a slow pace. Now it's changing what we do rapidly, and we need to start changing more rapidly. I think that the other thing that I would suggest, because these are some things that we were going through at Albertsons, is make sure that you've got a workflow technology that's underpinning the work that your teams do. A lot of us don't, and I think it's really hard to work in an agile way and with speed when you don't have the work your human teams are doing connected with workflow management to make it fast. Some thoughts? Yeah? I can't really see that well, so if I'm not seeing your hand, just maybe yell.
So many remotes coming out.
Because of the lights.
Hi. The example you gave of a generative commercial
Yep.
is the kind that I've seen succeed with AI with impressions, which is the bear on the trampoline and all of the different like kitschy, funny moments. But with Gen Z in particular wanting authentic experience, wanting sincerity, I just don't believe generative commercials are going to be able to replicate that feeling of connectedness. And so as I work with my team on this, like you said, there's roles on the team you'll replace. I haven't experienced that yet. I've asked them to increase their throughput by my copywriting team. I said, I'm not going to fire any of you. Your throughput's going to have to go up 100%. But the generative side, I'm much less interested in. I haven't seen it resonate sincere. I've only seen it create funny, viral moments, not brand right ones.
Maybe right for highly produced video assets, but my guess is you're creating thousands of other types of assets that are not video assets, where they're static images or copy. Like, there might be tactics, or strategically from a brand standpoint, you would say, hey, I'm going to experiment with AI, but I'm not seeing the authenticity come through in this type of creative asset. Maybe that's a long form video. But I would say there's probably a ton of things your team are doing that don't have that burden of authenticity from a customer standpoint that you should be automating with Gen AI. But yeah, hopefully you're right. And that continues to be a strong moat for expert human marketers and storytellers.
Yeah, just following up on her question. Sorry, over here. You're never going to see me with all the lights. Yeah, so definitely, as far as our teams, there's going to be a lot of adapting, figuring out new ways of doing work. But I'm just curious, because I keep hearing of all these roles that are going to disappear. What are some of the roles that you feel like are going to go away that we'll need to adapt from?
I mean, I just talk about my team. We've got a lot of people doing copywriting and low-level creative adaptation. I think those roles are going to be completely automated very soon. Those are the low-hanging fruit roles. Like, and that's what my team had been working on, starting to automate. I think, I don't know. I won't go beyond there, but those are some sort of initial types of roles that I think will be eliminated. Yeah.
All right, so two-parter. The first one, do you feel guilty at all for making my grocery prices so high?
Albertsons, man.
You're out of there. You're out of there. I get it. All right, it's good. The second part is, if you're producing an ad today, you had to produce a spot today, or have to be ready by Christmas time.
Yep.
Are you doing it in AI?
No, my team was not. For our holiday spots that we're making for this year, no.
Why not?
We're not ready. We're not good enough. I think that, I don't know. Maybe I'm going back to your point, which is I don't feel comfortable yet. I feel like that's running, crawl, walk, run, doing what that guy did, that's running a marathon, right? Or, at a 2-hour something pace. I think we're a long ways off of that type of thing being done by our teams. I showed that as a provocative example, but not something. Well, let's just take other video assets like influencer content. I mean, it's already half of its. Did you guys learn that there was a band on Spotify that was a totally AI generated band? Like, this stuff is happening. and I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to be till Super Bowl commercials are half generated by AI and half not. But I guarantee during this Super Bowl there will be multiple fully AI generated ads. Guarantee it.
I can take a guess.
What's that?
I can take a guess.
Yeah?
18 years.
18?
Yes. It takes 18 years for a human being to be called adult and has enough experience. So how do you expect a 18-month-old AI agent to actually understand your world?
I don't know. But a lot of people in this room hope you're right. 18 years. Yeah.
Sure. I just wanted to give some commentary on the Kalshi commercial. If you guys seen it before, I'm familiar with the founders who started the company, and the kind of the idea around that commercial has always been it's going to be extremely costly to produce these provocative events that are, if you're familiar with the site, it's basically an events prediction site. So you're basically saying, I think, this president is going to win over this president, or I think this Super Bowl team is going to win over this other team. And it's all event-based, and you're betting money, right? And so a lot of the production of these things to make it provocative is going to be extremely expensive. And the company is like a Series B, Series C company running on venture capital cash, not profitable. So you have to think about, like, what is the cost that they can do to stir up something that is going to be very successful, but at the same time not put a lot of money into that, versus a large brand today might have the dollars to make it very personally connectable. So for like our businesses, for example, if you're going to make a commercial, you're thinking about ultimately like connecting with your audience, connecting with your shoppers. But with something like that, no one's ever heard about it before. Events prediction's completely new. They just got kind of green lighted to go do that. And so it's just making it seem like, oh wow, I can like bet on this, I can bet on that. And the actual events in the commercial don't seem to need that humanistic aspect, more so just people being like more sharp edge, like, oh wow, this is a crazy thing that I just saw, and it blew up on TV or whatever, and then comments on that. They spent a lot of money, obviously, on the spot itself, so allocation towards dollars of like humans into the commercial are another consideration that they spent less on. Yep. Hopefully that's helpful.
Thanks for the build. Oh, another question, yeah. Softball, remember? We were at the happy hour
All
together.
softballs. All right. So there was a question, what percentage of the ads in Super Bowl were AI generated? So I don't know if you remember an ad by ChatGPT. OpenAI had an ad. I Googled that because we are trying to figure out, and that ad was mostly made by Accenture Song. Mostly people, some use of Sora, which is the AI tool, but 90% human-made. So we set out on a journey as a BPO company or a business process service company to create an ad on a concept. Because you actually sounded like my CEO saying there's somebody doing something for $2,000, and then you sounded like me saying it's not me. So I had to come back to that, right? So I'll tell you what the AI ad costed us. It costed us about $30,000 to create an AI ad. It's a 1-minute long ad. $25,000 of the $30,000 was on the concept creation. And that concept creation is so tough. We must have gone through like 70 iterations to just get the essence of what we stand for to come up with that concept. So it's still, I think, there's just, I was just trying to close the loop in terms of what some of us are trying to do with that. So
Yeah, the 25,000 was the humans.
Yeah, 25,000 was the humans to kind of come up with the concept.
Yeah.
And once you give the right prompt and once you give that, it actually, the ad itself is not too bad. So anyway, I just wanted to comment on that particular piece, but you are playing both roles of my CEO and myself, so I like that.
Thanks. Okay. No other questions? Yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah, good to be with all of you.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much, Sean. Awesome job. If anyone didn't like Sean's dad joke, we fired the script writer for me, and AI wrote that, so just blame ChatGPT or something. But that concludes everything tonight. Thank you all so much. We do have cocktails tonight at the lobby bar. Tomorrow, breakfast will begin at 7:30. Don't worry, plenty of coffee to get everyone energized. If anyone's extending their stay, please bring your baggage down to the event tomorrow. We'll store it for you. And yeah, fantastic breakfast panel tomorrow discussing leveling the playing field, the rise of the impact of women in sports marketing. Very timely, given everything going on with the WNBA today. That's at 8 a.m. tomorrow, moderated by Dominic, the CEO of Retail Tech Media, alongside an all-star panel. So please don't miss it. Everyone enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.